Hello everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the 5-day success challenge. We are streaming as we did yesterday on Facebook Live, so you will also find the replays inside the Facebook group. And if you registered using your emails, I will send you a copy of the replay video that will also be posted inside the YouTube channel. So without further ado, let's start. Welcome everyone. Let me share my screen and let us begin. So before we start day 2, let's recap what we did on day 1. So day 1, we started the first element of the success equation, and that is how to set up a worthy goal. So we explained the 3 types of goals that are A-type, B-type, and C-type goals. And we said that A-type and B-type goals are good enough for you to achieve more in life, but not good enough to grow as a person and to fulfill or explore and express your full potential. And this is why you have to settle only for a goal that is big enough and wide enough to scare you and to get you excited but scared. So I hope you had enough time to think about what you want, as we did yesterday in the exercise, and that you started filling up your want list. So if you have any questions about this, about setting up your worthy goal, or about the want list, or about the goal card, feel free to ask the question inside the chat or inside the Facebook page if you are following us live on Facebook. I'll have a look at the Facebook page in the meantime. All right, no questions. So let's start with day 2. So in day 1, we set up a goal. And in day 2, we're going to start to learn how to achieve that goal. So goal setting and goal achievement are 2 different things. Goal setting is a very rational and thinking process, but goal achievement is a lawful process. And what I mean by that is that goal achievement would have to follow the laws of the universe and would have to follow some other equations, let's say, about the mind. And in order for us to do that, we have to understand how our mind works and what's the relationship of our mind with our results. So the second element is the mind, and to remind you that success is an equation and that everything should make sense on a rational level for us to understand it and to grasp it and to move towards it in action. It has to make sense and it has to really be clear to our mind, especially the mind itself. And why am I telling you that? It's because the mind is not a thing. The mind is usually confused or assimilated with the brain. So when I tell you to think about the mind, most people would think about their brain. But your mind is not your brain, not as much as your fingernail is. Your mind is movement. Mind is a spiritual thing, and it's a movement, it's a vibration. And your physical body is the manifestation or representation of that movement in the physical world. So your mind is not a physical thing. You have to grasp this information. And for us to do so, it's not obvious because as human beings, we are used to think of things in pictures. Whatever thought that you have, you would think of it in pictures. So when I tell you to think about the mind, if you don't have a picture of the mind, it's not obvious to make sense of it, and it's not obvious to operate and to understand how the mind works if your mind itself cannot assimilate a picture to that thing. So here's what Dr. Thurman Fleet he was a psychiatrist in 1934, came up with this picture. So this picture represents the mind. And when I first looked at this picture, it looked really simple and somehow silly, like it's just a stick person. And this is what it's called. It's called the stick person figure. So it's simple, but it really makes sense to me. And it made a very huge difference to my life, because this picture allowed me to understand how my mind works. And starting from that, I would use it to understand my behavior, my attitude, my results, how I process thoughts, and how I understand and process my feelings, and then move them to action. So this is all we going to talk about today. So let the large circle represent the mind, and let the small circle represent the body. And why we're doing that is because your mind is very huge in terms of size, let's say, or in terms of impact compared to your body. So let the large circle represent the mind, and let's start from that. Think of results of people versus their behavior. Let's say, for example, a shy person. They have a behavior that is quite limited in terms of communication with the world. For example, they're quite introverted. They're not really outgoing, and they don't feel comfortable going to, for example, speaking to people that they don't know. Versus the gregarious, outgoing, and self-confident person that is out there and very welcoming to talk to new people, for example. So why am I telling you this? Because the shy person and the gregarious person all have the same operating system, that is the same mind. So all our minds are the same in terms of operating system. I'm going to use this term again because it makes sense to me. What we do with that operating system is what makes the difference. So if two people have two laptops of the same kind and of the same capacity, what one person does with that laptop and what other person does, someone can develop miracles and do great projects, and some other person would just play games and just waste time. So you have the same operating system. And I'm not talking about skills, and I'm not talking about experience and knowledge and IQ. I'm talking about the operating system that is the mind. And this operating system is the way that we process thoughts, the way that our thoughts impact our behavior and our emotions. It's the same kind of configuration that we all have, but what we do with that is very different, and it translates in our results. So it's how the mind is programmed, actually, that makes the difference. So again, associating with the operating system image, it's how we program this operating system that would make the difference, that would make the outcome. And the good news is that it's an open source operating system, and you can reprogram it as you wish, and you can reset it, and you can do with it whatever that you want. But you have to understand how it works. And it's not that difficult to grasp. And I'm going to explain to you today exactly how to understand that amazing program that we have, that is the mind. So here's another more detailed picture of the mind. So we have an energy that is on a universal level, that is always flowing to and through you at any time of the day, at any state of your being, of your body. There's always energy flowing to and through us throughout the whole universe at any time. This energy can translate into information, sounds, ideas, pictures, lights, whatever thing that you can grasp or intercept with your five senses. So let's assume that this energy is always there. It flows through your conscious mind, and your conscious mind is actually your thinking mind. So when we talk about consciousness, it's everything that we can assimilate and make sense of using our five senses. The second half of the circle here, let's call that the subconscious mind. it's the part of us that only executes. It does not think. And it's also the part of us that is always on autopilot. And guess what? It controls 97% of our behavior. 97% of your behavior is on autopilot. You don't think about the why to everything that you do throughout the day and throughout your life. You never ask, why do I start with this and not that, or why do I prefer this kind of food or not that, and why does this sound makes me feel uncomfortable while other people likes it? Why do I like that kind of music? Why does this person trigger something in me, etc., etc. Many things. Especially, let's come back to the example of the shy person and the gregarious person. Usually, the attitude that the person has is usually on autopilot. A person does not really decide that, okay, today I'm going to get frustrated with the first person that's going to talk to me in the street. No, they're on autopilot, they get triggered and they move into action directly without asking the why. The why only comes to the conscious mind because it needs rational thinking, but the subconscious only executes. So this is why it's very important to grasp this idea, because the subconscious would directly move your body into action and cause reactions from the universe, from other people, to our results, to everything in our life, because it's the subconscious that moves the body into action. Always let me know if you have any questions so far. So I'm just going to have a look at the chat and on my Facebook page. All right. So now let's delve even deeper into that idea. So we saw that energy can be assimilated to thoughts, sounds, colors, pictures, ideas, other people's ideas, anything. So let's assume it's a thought. It's a new thought, and let's say that these 5 antennas that you see here in the on top of the stick person's head are your 5 senses. So you can hear, see, smell, taste, and touch. And throughout your 5 senses, you're intercepting a new thought. So here, your conscious mind is your thinking mind, as we said. And your thinking mind has a great ability that your subconscious mind does not. And that is the ability to think. And what do I mean by that is that you can choose what to think. So you can think as of building ideas and building new thoughts, but you can also choose what you think if someone else is projecting a thought on you or projecting a new idea on you. So you have the ability to filter whatever thoughts, whatever pictures that you're intercepting through your 5 senses, if you remember that you have the choice. Because if you don't have a choice, let's say when you were a kid, you were not really able to decide what to think or to shut up your 5 senses to decide if you don't want to see that, for example, if you don't want to watch that kind of content, for example, but your subconscious mind was wide open. So whatever idea, whatever thought, whatever energy that was going around you, you were accepting it without questioning it. And the thing is that most people would stay with this habit of accepting whatever thoughts that come to their 5 senses without questioning them, especially if these thoughts are coming from our society, from our friends, or if they are really impressed upon us through repetition over and over again. Like you watch the news every day and it's the same kind of news and the same kind of content, same kind of negativity, but you never really question it. So my takeaway from this would be that the thinking mind is there to generate new ideas, but also to decide what to think and to make a decision to either accept, ignore, or reject any idea that any other person or other source is really trying to impress on you. So you have the ability to think and you have the ability to choose what you think. So keep that in mind, because what your thinking mind does is that through repetition and through the acceptance, through belief, if you believe in the idea, if you accept it, when I say accepting an idea, it means believing in it, believing that, for example, if you watch the news and they say, okay, the economy is going bad and there's a recession and everybody's going to lose their jobs. You can choose to accept this idea, but when you accept it, if you believe in it, you will get emotionally involved with it. And once you get emotionally involved with it, it's too late. It's like, think of it as a process that's going vertically through your five senses. If it makes it through the second half of your mind that is not thinking, it will move directly your body into action. So it's not like if you're not using your filter, the idea would get absorbed directly and will move your body into action. So if you accepted this idea that, okay, there's a recession, I'm probably going to lose my job, your body will subconsciously, without even noticing, without you choosing, will start acting as if that was a fact. But if you are aware enough and conscious enough for you to decide to ignore or reject this idea and say, instead of accepting this, I'm going to decide that I'm going to make my own economy and I'm going to start my own business, or I'm going to excel in my job so that I would never lose it because I love it and I do an excellent job and I would never allow this negative news or negative energy to affect me, my world, and my reality. So it's really up to you. Or you can just choose to reject whatever ideas that are not really serving you. So my advice would be to first be attentive of what your five senses are projected to. So the kind of songs you listen to, the kind of people that are talking around you all over the day, the kind of colors and pictures and places that you see and live in and go to. All these things are impacting your subconscious mind through repetition. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, if you keep, I don't know, eating the same junk food over and over again, it's going to impact your health. Same things happening if you keep drinking detox juices all over your day. So it will impact your health either way or the other. So it's really up to you to make sure that, first of all, you are aware of what kind of things that you are impacting your senses through and what kind of things that are really repetitive. So if I have a conversation with someone that made me feel uncomfortable because the ideas are really not aligned with my beliefs, I can choose to accept, reject, or ignore that kind of ideas and eventually that kind of person. But if the person is a part of my life, I will have to deal with it. So either I would literally like move on and try to be somewhere else, or I would just have an honest conversation and say, hey, this kind of idea is really not aligned with me, and I'm feeling like I'm going to be triggered and I'm going to get emotionally involved with this, and this does not serve me. So if you don't mind, I would rather not speak about this kind of negativity or this kind of idea that's not really aligned with what I want to speak to you about. So this is how you make a choice, and you only need enough awareness and to remember that you are always, at any time of the day, and even when you're sleeping, you are always having a choice to choose whatever kind of ideas you build in your head and whatever kind of ideas that you're accepting. Why is accepting or rejecting ideas going to impact your level of success, your results, and your goals? It's because if the mind is cluttered and focused on ideas that do not serve you, it will eventually not be able to focus on your goal and would eventually get into negativity or get into toxicity or whatever thing that's not really going to serve you. It will move your body into negative emotion and then negative actions or passive actions or procrastination or negativity or whatever it is. And whatever thing that you're doing that you're moving into action with will trigger your results, because every action that you have, that you make, will trigger a reaction from other people, from the universe, from your job, from your business, from whatever. And it will translate into your results, into your reality. So You have a choice, and make sure you're surrounded with ideas that are filtered in a way that would only serve you for the best outcome possible for you. So know with whom you're surrounding yourself. This is very important. And know what kind of ideas that you're letting into your mind on a repetitive pattern and on an autopilot mode unconsciously. Like even the kind of songs that you're listening to, the lyrics, like sometimes we listen just to the music, but we don't really care about the lyrics, but the lyrics can be suggesting something unconscious that is quite negative. Like, for example, I make sure that my playlist, especially in the morning, is very positive and it's very upbeat, and it would always make me suggesting to my mind something positive and something really good that would make me feel good, because most of the time I don't even notice the lyrics until like someday you would look up the lyrics and like, is this what I'm repeating over the day over and over again? I wouldn't even notice, but my subconscious does. And my subconscious would start executing whatever I'm pressing through it without even telling me. So make sure you're aware of that and you're paying attention. There's also, for example, a new trend that more people are making as a trend and as a joke, that's called the Blue Monday. And it's supposed to make us hate Mondays because they're supposed to be Blue Monday, and everybody hates Mondays. And it starts from Sunday evening. You're starting to complain about Monday, and you still complain about Monday all day long. So everybody will make sure to complain and to make others hear that they are not comfortable with Monday being Monday, as if we are rejecting like 1/7 of our lives because it's Monday. So I don't have the right to be happy. I don't have the right to be protective. I'm supposed to hate my job. I'm supposed to act as if I'm depressed when I come to Monday. And when people ask me, how was your weekend? I would say, yeah, it was too short. It's Monday. What you gonna do? It's trendy. And if you say something different than that, if you come to work and say, hey, it's Monday, I'm super excited to see you guys, and I can't wait to start work. Imagine the reaction of your coworkers. You're the weirdo, right? So you don't want to do that because you want to conform to that trend and to that paradigm, to that collective consciousness that's telling you that this is the way to think and this is the way to feel. You're supposed to feel bad about Monday because you're supposed to hate your job because everyone else does. But guess what? You have a choice. So it's really up to you. Now let's talk about the creative process. So we established a goal. We understood that the mind is quite important to understand how to move towards that goal. We understood that you can have a choice to direct your thoughts and to choose whatever thing that you can accept, reject, or ignore, and accept only the ideas that will keep your mind focused on your goal and that would move you towards your goal. Eventually, choose the kind of people to mix with, the kind of people that will allow you to have more ideas, more opportunities, and that will keep you in the same good vibration about your goal. So we established all that. Now, how to create, how to start this process. And I remember saying before the start of the event that this is an equation of success. So we have to establish the elements and we have to understand the process because it is a step-by-step process. And if you follow the steps really clearly and if you grasp and understand this equation clearly, it will be no secret to you anymore because it's really, really that simple, and just that most of people are not even trying because the process is simple, but it doesn't mean that it's easy to implement. But let's stay in the theory for now, and let's come up with some examples to understand this idea better. So the creative process starts with thoughts. Imagine that your mind is downloading thoughts from the universe, from somewhere, as we download information from the internet. So thoughts will come to you from different places. You see something, you talk to someone, you read a book, and it will inspire you, and it will trigger a new thought. a combination of thoughts would constitute a new idea, right? So this new idea, you will intercept it with your 5 senses. You can hear, smell, taste, see, and touch. Through your conscious mind, you either accept or reject the new idea. Let's see, for example, the idea is I want to switch careers. I want to start a new business. So I had a few thoughts, and the few thoughts are combined to make a new idea. The idea is that, okay, I need to either switch careers and take a quantum leap in my career path, or I need to start a new business. That's a very good idea that I'm accepting on a conscious level. I feel excited about it. And I know on some level that I can do it because I know other people that have the same kind of skills as me that done it. So consciously, rationally, I accept the idea. Now, what's going on the subconscious mind could be quite different. And the problem is that what's going on the subconscious mind is what's going to decide if I'm going to have this switch in it to a new career or to start that business or not. And why is that? It's because unless and until you get emotionally involved and you change your programming that is subconscious, you will not be able to move towards your goal. So if the new idea is accepted by your rational mind, but not yet implemented into your subconscious level mind, you will never be able to move towards it. So if my new idea is to start a new business, I can rationally think about a business plan. I can establish, I can think of the name of the business. I can even design a new logo. I can think about what I'm going to sell. I can do market research, but I can spend years with only that done. I would never be able to move towards making this business a reality unless and until I do something about my subconscious mind. Because if I still act like the person I was 10 years ago, I will never be able to move forward and to do things differently. Because what makes this new idea different in terms of results is that in the meantime, or progressively, I will start to do things differently. I will start to talk to people. I would go and look for business deals. I would start do things differently. I would never be able to start doing things unless and until my subconscious mind is different. So the trick here, the creative process starts into the subconscious mind. So it starts with the idea. You accept it on a rational mind. That's okay. That's fine. But unless and until the old conditioning is different, you will not be able to do anything, or not much at least. So what we said yesterday is that you have to start with a C-type goal. The C-type goal is supposed to be very different from any version of any goal that you have already achieved, right? So if you're thinking about something that you've never achieved before, guess what? You are uncomfortable thinking about it because it's different from your old conditioning. And what the old conditioning is telling you to is to just keep doing the same things that you used to do, the same process, the same habits. Nothing is going to change. So if the C-type goal is really out there, outside of your comfort zone, your old conditioning will never move you toward there. So you have to stay focused, and you have to really gain more and more awareness of this concept. Is my new idea really in harmony with my old conditioning? And is my old conditioning having something to do with me procrastinating, not moving towards my goal, not really doing anything today that will move me towards my goal? You have to ask these questions, because otherwise you will still in the subconscious behavior. And if you're still subconscious, you'll never be able to make a choice. So remember, the subconscious can never make a choice, but it can only execute. But the rational mind can make a choice to accept or reject ideas. Any questions so far? Please let me know in the chat. Yes, I do have a question. Practically, how do we hack our subconscious mind? Can you give examples of things that can help? Absolutely. That was the next phase. So the subconscious mind can be changed through two things. The first thing is through emotional impact. And what I mean by that, for example, when you have a shock, you have, I don't know, a traumatic event, or it's usually something negative. The emotional impact is usually something negative. So it's just a way of changing it, but let me explain how it works. The emotional impact would trigger your subconscious mind into doing things differently in order for you to avoid the situation again. So if you have a traumatic event or a shock or a heartbreak or something really huge for your mind to comprehend, your subconscious mind will start doing things differently in order for it to survive and to get outside of this zone that is not comfortable anymore. So think of it like this. The emotional impact will get you outside your comfort zone because it judges that the zone is not comfortable anymore. And usually the emotional impact is something negative. So 9/11, for example, was an emotional impact for all the world. And the world started acting differently just after that because it was an emotional impact and it really shocked all people all over the world. So it was like the collective consciousness or the collective subconscious that literally changed overnight. And this is what an emotional impact does. An emotional impact can also be something positive, but it's not really that usual. But let's say, for example, you fall in love and suddenly you start acting differently. Suddenly everything has a different meaning to you. And suddenly you're daring to do things that you never dared to do before. That's also an emotional impact. It makes you look at things differently, and it makes your subconscious decide to see things and to do things in a different way. That's also an emotional impact. The second way, that is the scientific way and the more stable and easier way to do, is through constant spaced repetition. And what do I mean by that is that your subconscious mind and your old programming was put there not overnight. It was put there throughout the years, throughout your childhood, throughout your education, your family, your friends. Every single habit that you implemented throughout your life, either consciously, that you learned or learned to do it yourself, or unconsciously, is there to nurture and to learn or to teach your subconscious mind how to act and how to see things. So in order for you to change it, you have to do the same thing. Repetition, again and again, new habits. So let's say, for example, if you had a bad habit that you want to change. Let's say, for example, someone wants to start a diet or to stop smoking. If they have this bad habit, let's think about the habit as a program that they installed a while ago and that they kept updating and doing the same software updates over and over and over again. In order for you to understand that and to change it into a new habit, you have to first be consciously aware of it. You have to second decide and commit to make a change. And then you have to start the process of repetition. So you repeat the new habit over and over again until this new habit would take the old habit's place. So if you, for example, notice that you smoke every time you have a meeting that is frustrating, for example, you need to smoke. First of all, be consciously aware of that. Once you decide that you're going to start smoking, like, say it out loud. I'm deciding to smoke a cigarette because I feel frustrated about this meeting and I think the cigarette will make me feel better. Say it over and over again until it makes less sense. So it doesn't make more sense, should make less sense, because if it's unconscious, it means that your body or your subconscious is not even asking you for permission, just moving into action directly. But if you start questioning it, you're putting more rational thought into it. It wouldn't mean really much or that much after a few times. And then start replacing the old habit that is negative with a new habit that is positive. Same thing with thoughts and behavior. Like, for example, if I am a shy person and I have trouble asking for, I don't know, for directions in the street, could be really anything. let's say, like, for example, okay, I'm lost in Paris. I need to ask someone for directions. If I do it unconsciously, I would just keep walking and just get lost and never actually have the conversation with myself. But if I say it out loud, or at least to myself on a conscious level, okay, I'm lost, but I do feel uncomfortable asking for directions because I think I'm shy and I think I will get uncomfortable speaking to people because I don't speak French, for example. The fact that you said it will make less sense and will really makes it kind of silly, or as silly as the idea is really is, because guess what? Most of your beliefs are actually not true and are actually really subconscious in a way that are the minute that you start having a conversation, a direct conversation with yourself, you would discover that it's actually silly. Like, was this the reason why I didn't do that? Okay, that really doesn't make sense. It really shouldn't be a reason for me to decide to smoke or to decide to not go to that party or to decide to whatever that I decide to do on a subconscious level. So repetition is crucial because your subconscious mind was put in place, the program was put in place through repetition. So the only way, or the safest way to change it back is through constant spaced repetition. I have another example that I do. One of the things that the habits that I started implementing in the last few months is to take a cold shower every day. I started doing this when it was easy, when it was summer, and it was like the cold shower was not that cold, and you actually needed a bit of refreshment. So I started doing this when it was easy, and I kept doing it until it became a habit. When it became a habit, I didn't have to ask myself permission to decide if I want to take a cold shower or not. So you see the difference? You start when it's easy, or you start with a reward. When a cold shower in the summer was actually something that you look for, it was not a challenge. But through repetition, constant spaced repetition, I would do it every day, and I would eventually reward myself and feel good about myself that I keep doing this new habit. When it becomes a habit, it's subconscious. You don't have to decide to do it anymore. You don't have to convince yourself to do it anymore. And guess what? Winter came and it became really cold. But the habit is still there. Now it's still subconscious, and I still wake up and jump into the cold shower. I know it's crazy and it's uncomfortable, but I still do it because it's a challenge and because now it's a habit. But I noticed that a few days when I give myself enough time to make it conscious again, I would start thinking, no, this is a bad idea. This is crazy. It's minus 10 degrees outside. Why do I need to do that? It's not even healthy anymore. Maybe I would get sick or something, but guess what? I wouldn't get sick. And second, if I allow myself a few seconds even to think about it consciously again, my paradigm, my old conditioning would step up and say, hey, actually, this makes us feel uncomfortable. So it's too late. When my paradigm, my old conditioning is stepping up to say, this is outside the comfort zone, don't do it, I would find it more difficult to do it. But if I jump directly, when you are under the cold water, it's already too late for your paradigm to say whatever it wants to say, because you only stay there for a few seconds or a few minutes, and that's all. So my takeaway from these examples is always be consciously aware of your new habits or your bad habits if you want to change them. If you don't want to change the habit, keep it as it is. Like, if the habit is healthy enough, don't think about it, or don't overthink it, because when you put it out to your conscious mind, you will start to rationalize it again. You will start to think of the drawbacks and the advantages and start really overthinking it. So only have a conversation about yourself, about your habits, if you want to change them. So one of the exercises that you can do, you can list 3 or 4 habits that you think are not productive or are not good for you that you want to change, and have a conversation with yourself about this. Like, ask questions. Why do I do that? When do I need to, or think I need to do that? And then eventually start thinking about a new habit that could take the other habit's place. If you want to delve even deeper into habits and into how to change them, I would suggest looking at this book, Atomic Habits. It's a very good book, and it's very practical, lots of exercises, and explained really rationally and really in a very easy way to comprehend and to put into practice. So I started talking about paradigms earlier on, and I don't know if all of you guys are familiar with the term paradigm. So if you're not, let's see what a paradigm is. A paradigm is a set of habits and behaviors that is stored into your subconscious mind throughout your education, but also throughout your genes. So you inherited some of the beliefs and some of the habits and the behavioral patterns throughout your genes. So with that being said, a paradigm can shift and can change. And your paradigm needs to change if you have a C-type goal, because again, a C-type goal is outside your comfort zone. It's outside the person that you are right now. And the purpose of the goal is to make you grow as a person and to make you become a future version, the better version of yourself. So in order for you to reach that new version of yourself, the current belief, the current paradigm needs to shift. Since the paradigm is a set of habits, it's obviously subconscious. And it controls what you think of as comfortable, what you think of as good or not good. It controls your judgment of yourself, of other people, of new ideas. It controls your beliefs. It controls your limits. It also controls things that your money, your income, your relationship status, the way you look at yourself, the way you speak, the way you act, what triggers you. It's really a set of very, very complicated and very large spectrum of experiences, traumas, educations, really, really many, many things. And they are subconscious and they can change. So how do we do that? How do we make a paradigm shift? Let's see. So we established that this is the stick person and this is a representation of our mind. On the first half, we find the conscious mind that has the ability to think and to decide whatever ideas to accept. But it's the paradigm, it's the subconscious that has the ability to move into action. So it cannot choose whatever ideas to believe in or not, but it can execute. And the paradigm was put in there through repetition or through emotional impact. So in order for us to change the paradigm, first we need to identify it. What's my paradigm like? Do I have a bad paradigm? Do I have a bad set of habits that's like a virus to my operational system that is limiting me, that's making me procrastinate? If it's as if I'm bugging or I'm just acting slow because of some virus, it literally acts like that. It's like a virus. It's part of your operating system. It's not a feature, but it's a virus. Why is it not a feature? It's a virus because it's not supposed to bring the result that I want. So what I need to do to identify my paradigm is simply one thing. Look at my results. If my results are not what I want, something inside of me, something in my subconscious mind is controlling those results. And that's the kind of things, the kind of habits or the paradigm that needs to change. Let me know if this makes sense to you, if it's clear enough, or if we need to dive even deeper into that. All right. So let's say we came up with new different thoughts. a new idea, a new goal, a C-type goal, and the C-type goal is supposed to make us feel motivated enough to become emotionally involved with it. If you're not emotionally involved with an idea, you probably wouldn't really move towards it that fast, or you wouldn't really move towards it continually until you reach it. So if your C-type goal isn't really making you emotionally involved as if you were really in love with the idea, you'll not really make the effort to change the paradigm. And again, why are we changing the paradigm? Because we need to become this future version of ourselves that is limitless and that is not stuck in the comfort zone. So C-type goal would move us to new kinds of thoughts. We choose to accept the thoughts and we get emotionally involved with thoughts. So what happens when we are emotionally involved with a thought is that it would come into collision with our old beliefs, with our limiting beliefs. So if my subconscious mind used to believe that I'm a shy person and I'm introverted and I would never be comfortable talking to people and do public speaking, for example, and talking to new clients. I would never be able to physically move my body into achieving any of the goals that would include me speaking in public, for example. But if I get emotionally involved with the idea and I fall in love with the picture of myself, with my future version that has already achieved that kind of goal, that kind of result, I would start making changes to my paradigm. Maybe I would start exercising myself into becoming more comfortable doing the things that make me feel uncomfortable today. And this is how the paradigm changes. So be aware of your current state of mind, your current limiting beliefs. Everyone has a gazillion limiting beliefs, because if you didn't, you would already have achieved whatever goal that you have set yourself to achieve, because it's the only prerequisite for you to attain your goal is, are you convinced that you can achieve that? If you are convinced and you believe that you can achieve your goal, let's see your behavior. Let's look at your attitude, and let's look at your kind of actions that you're taking. Usually, you know exactly what you take as an action. You know, for example, that in order to make a new sale, you need to contact at least 10 clients every day, for example. But are you? Probably not. You still know what you have to do, but for some reason you find a million excuses not to do that on a daily basis. And you keep the same loop going over and over and over again throughout your days. You don't really take any action that is different than your limiting beliefs and than your current state of mind. When you start changing the paradigm, you start doing things differently. You start accepting to stay uncomfortable for a while until it becomes comfortable again. So the cold shower was never and is never a comfortable thing, but I do it every day, because at the end of the minute or minute and a half that I have to endure that, I would say this is probably the hardest thing that I have to do today. So I can probably do anything else. And this is the mindset I start my day with. And it makes much more sense, because throughout a minute or a minute and a half of feeling uncomfortable and sitting through that tension, you eventually will reward yourself with, for me, it's with some warmth, or with a hot coffee. And eventually I would feel great and proud and feel like, hey, I did that. This is one thing that I did today that I didn't really think I could. So I can probably do other things that I don't think that I could as well. So I'm starting to question my paradigm and starting to question my limiting beliefs over and over again. And through repetition, constant spaced repetition throughout the day, many times, I would do this exercise over and over again. It's like you're stretching your muscles. The more you stretch, the easier the split can become. But the very first few times, it feels like hell, and you feel like you're going to die. And it's just your comfort zone trying to keep you there. So let's summarize the paradigm shift and the process of creative thinking here. First, you need to expose yourself to new ways of thinking. So stay open-minded. That's very, very, very important. When I started this journey to goal achievement and self-development and trying to see what's in it for me there not that is not clear yet, and how can I do better in life, I was challenged by myself, by my own thinking, because I didn't have quite an open mind. I had strong beliefs about things and how they needed to be done, how the game should be played. And I was quite tense, quite rigid in terms of thinking. So once I started exposing myself to new ways of thinking, eventually my mind opened, and eventually I started accepting new kinds of ideas. Of course, when I had the knowledge that I have a choice, what kind of ideas would I accept, and what kind of ideas I can actually have a choice of rejecting or completely ignoring. So first thing to do is to expose yourself to new ways of thinking and make the things like this a habit. Make it a habit of talking to new kinds of people, to listening to new kinds of ideas, to stay open-minded. Second, constant repetition and emotional involvement. If you repeat a new idea, but just on a rational level, if you don't get emotionally involved with, you won't really have an ease moving towards it. You need to get emotionally involved with the idea. And this is why I told you to start visualizing and start making a want list. When you start with a want list, you are associating whatever thing that you're writing on your want list with an idea, with a vision, with a picture. And it's the picture that will move you through emotional involvement. Because remember what we said at the beginning, we think in pictures. So in order for you to feel emotionally involved, you stay in the picture, you start visualizing, and you stay in the picture. So constant repetition through emotional involvement with a picture. Always operate with a picture. So if your goal is to start a new business or start a new career, imagine your new desk, imagine your new team. What are you wearing? What's your day looks like? Where is the new company? Maybe you can take a walk over there and see what the neighborhood looks like. You have to put yourself physically and emotionally into that new picture. It's then when you start switching the paradigm, start shifting things. And then consistency in practicing. This is why I call it constant spaced repetition. You have to stay constant and you have to space it over time. So instead of repeating the exercise 10 times a day, just do it 3 times in the morning, 3 times at noon, and 3 times at night. This way, your paradigm is still exercising throughout the day, and it will still exercise when you go to sleep as well, because this is very important. And then fourth, take action. Whatever you can do today, ask yourself every day, what can I do today that is in my power, in my capacity today to move me towards my goal? You can at least do one thing, be it very small, even just write your goal 10 times, or call your first client, or go to that networking event, or whatever thing that you need to do. Start that diet, quit that next cigarette that you're going to take, or subscribe to that gym, or buy that course. Could be really anything. Just take the first action. The day after, you'll have more capacity and more power to do maybe something else, maybe another action, or to continue doing the same action over and over again. So these are the 4 steps of the creative process. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me have a look at the chat inside Zoom and inside the Facebook. All right. Before we go to Q&A time, let's see what we have as homework today. So you will find the workbook for today inside the same Google Drive folder that I shared with you guys yesterday. Same place. Today's exercises, so let's start with the first one. And let me know if you have any questions about the exercises as well. First thing is to identify the gap. What are areas in your life where you've been living on autopilot, patterns or cycles that are held back and held back from creating a change or reaching a goal? So the first exercise is about to bring in more awareness to the things that we do on autopilot. So basically, it's a very cognitive, rational exercise that you have to really bring more awareness to your habits. So list a few habits that you think you're doing on autopilot and see if these things are actually holding you back, or if the absence of doing certain things on autopilot as well is holding you back. So like, for example, I used to avoid responding to unknown numbers on my phone. For some reason, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what the person wants, and I would expect them to text me to feel more comfortable. So that was something I didn't do, but I didn't do on autopilot. I still don't do it. Second exercise is to think about the environment in which you grew up. What were the common concepts and beliefs around you? So remember when you grew up, what kinds of things that people used to say to you or used to say about other people that you think are concepts or beliefs that maybe also are holding you back. So what we're trying to do here is to bring up the paradigm, trying to analyze it, try to put it out and to really, really understand what's going on and what's holding you back. 3 is to get more specific. So diving even deeper. Think about what you want, the assumption you've created on day 1. Remember the C-type goal, what you really, really want. And what is the gap between that and the assumptions that were dominant in the environment you grew up in? For me, for example, when the environment I grew up in, I was praised of being the quiet, shy little girl that didn't do anything wrong. It was always like the picture perfect. So I didn't want to soil that image. So I didn't do anything, neither wrong or nor right. I just didn't do anything. I was like that, like I'm just perfect. Leave me there. So that was the gap between what I believed I should be and what I wanted to be. I wanted to be more outgoing and to express myself and to be more out there and to bring more of myself to the world. But I didn't do it because somehow that thought was holding me back. Like I shouldn't do anything over, or I shouldn't overdo it. I shouldn't be louder. I shouldn't be more visible than I needed to be. So that was one of my assumptions that was dominant in the environment I grew up in. So maybe you can think of something similar. Fourth and last exercise, I think, is to shift the learned assumptions or concepts that you've listed above, that you've picked up from your environment growing up, and then rewrite them to match your vision and desire. For example, let's say one of the beliefs that I think most of us grew up in is that there is evil in being rich and there is virtue in poverty. The fact that you're content with what you have is a virtue, and you should be grateful and content, and you should never say out loud that you want more, because what you want is enough for you, and you should be thankful. This is something that we grew up listening to and hearing, even on TV and even in books. And the hero was always praised for being patient and for enduring difficulties and from being poor but virtuous. Okay, but that's not the truth. We're going to talk about money and richness and the right of being rich and the size of being rich on day 5. But that's one of the beliefs that we can question and we can really analyze and see if they're actually holding us back. So use only positive words in the present tense. Always remember the affirmations should always be positive, like an affirmation rather than I do not, or I am not letting my limiting beliefs hold me back. Instead of that, I have unlimited potential, or I am good at learning new things, or I can earn a lot of money doing something I love with ease, etc. And repeat these statements every day in writing and or out loud. So I would advise you to repeat them in front of the mirror, or at least to write them down. And then you have a space to take some notes. And that's it for the exercises. So do you have any questions about these exercises so far? All right, thank you very much. Very clear. Thank you, Nada. All right. Well, I guess we're finished with day 2 if you don't have any more questions. So do your exercises, and if you remember or if any question would pop up in your mind before tomorrow, feel free to email me or to send me a message. And with that being said, see you tomorrow, same time for day 3. Goodbye, everyone.